So, first of all, good morning to all and good morning to GSK Gupta sir. My name is Vishal Sani. I am from Delhi and currently working in SCL Technologies as a software engineer, where will be my job role as testing profile. And I have completed my education in electronics and communication engineering from SRM Institute of Science and Technology, where I have secured 78.39 percentage. And right now I am in training of testing, and we're looking forward for being deployed in a project where I can use all of these skills effectively and improve myself for becoming a great tester in future. And I would also like to thank all of my trainers who have been training me since the starting of this training. First was Kavita ma'am, then Christy ma'am, and now GSK Gupta sir, who is helping us at each and every point of our training and giving us all the important points which will be needed for our training and becoming a good testing engineers in our future. How can we pursue our careers, and what should we do, what should not we do to become great testers. So I would like to deeply thank GSK Gupta sir for guiding us on the good path of our careers. Thank you, sir. And now I would like to proceed for with my manual testing presentation. So, uh, what is manual testing? Manual testing is a software testing process in which test cases are executed manually without using any automated tool. And all the things are all the test cases executed by testers manually according to end user perspectives. It ensures that whether the application is working as mentioned in the requirement document or not. And this is very important testing type. There is also one other which is automated testing, but we will talk about it later. Now, why do we need manual testing? Manual testing, we need manual testing to ensure that the application is error free and it is working in conformance to specified functional requirements. Basically, whenever an application comes into the market and it is unstable or having bug or issues creating a problem while end users are using it, it would cause a great loss to the company, to the developers who have developed the project. And it would cost very much after deployed or releasing of the product to the end users. So it is better to test the application in the early stages and make it perfect or make it as much as bug free it could possibly be. Now, what are the types of manual testing? So there are some of the types of manual testing which we will use to make some of our test cases. These are some of the test cases techniques and testing techniques we used for testing manually. First of all is black box techniques. Black box technique is basically we do not look at the structure of our program. We don't have any knowledge about what is going on inside. We just give input and see the output is according to the requirement or according to the test document that we have prepared. Then we have white box testing. In white box testing, we look at the internal structure of the program or the product, and we decide what would be the test cases for this, and uh, look at the expected and the outcome value that they are matching or not. They both are very important testing techniques and used everywhere in manual testing or also in automated testing. Then we have unit testing. Unit testing is basically smallest module of a program that we can possibly make and test it on a smallest level so that of bugs could be find at very smallest unit of the product. Then we have integration testing. So integration testing is integration of one or more units together and then testing of them as a whole to find errors if they are compatible with each other or not, because when different modules are connected with each other or joined with each other, uh, most of the time they show some error because there are something missing, or some of the variables or etc could be missing, etc. Then we have system testing, which is basically the integration of more than one integration testing modules, which is the highest level of testing as a system, which tests the application as a whole, in which we perform testing on all the application which we can see input and output of the system. And then we have acceptance testing. It is last testing phase during the manual testing, in which end user use the end user uses the application and provide its feedback. First of all, alpha testing is been done at the developer sites, and one of the developer teams could act as an end user and test the application thoroughly. Then beta releases to the end users, and they use this application and provide their feedback if any bugs they are facing or not. Then we have myths of manual testing. We There are some myths of manual testing, that anyone can do manual testing, which is not true. That cause it may be true that one do not need any programming knowledge to do manual testing, but it is very important for him to have great knowledge of how software development life cycle works, how testing life cycle works, how and his analytical skills should be very good to reduce the test cases and make the application work properly. Then we have testing ensures 100% defect-free product, which is also not true, because exhaustive testing is not possible at all. Testing is used only to uh, find the defects, not all the defects, because there will be some defects which would not be covered by the test that we have prepared. So testing doesn't ensure 100% defect-free product. Then we have automated testing is more powerful than manual testing. Most of the people think that manual testing is dying and automated testing is taking over the market, but which is not true at all, because before doing automated testing, manual testing of each and every product or each and every module is very important to make the test cases. Then and only then one can make automated testing scripts to use in automated tools. Then we have testing is easy. Testing is not easy at all. One need very skilled and experience to uh, make a perfect tester and become good in his skills and career to provide a better testing pro- to provide a better testing to an application. Now we have how to perform manual testing. So first of all, tester observes all the document related to software like SRS, BRS that have been prepared by the requirement analysis through the designers and the our management. Then tester analyzes requirement documents according to the perspective of our testing requirements, and also connect with the customer to find his focus of what he wants from the application, and make notes of it and make a test document. Then according to the test document, tester develop the test cases, different test cases which to cover different test scenarios of the application. Then all the test cases are executed manually through uh, through testers. And then if bug occurred during the testing, the testing team will inform the bug to the development team for its correction. And the development team will fixes the bugs and hand it software to the testing team for a retest, which is very important, as after fixing the bugs, there may be some new bugs occurred due to changes in the development code. Now we have manual testing project that I have completed during my manual testing training. The project was online admission form filling application. So on the right hand side, you can see that there are various fields that we need to fill in this application form. This is basically a module of registration form. So we have username, password, email, and these all are mandatory with a red star. And we have occupation, industry, interested area, date of birth, country, states, and city, and current education level are drop down list that we have to choose one of the values from the drop down menu in these fields. Then we have mobile number. It would be a numeric value of 10 digit as example showing in the uh, module also. Then we have privacy setting, receiving email from administrator. We can tick or untick it. It is not mandatory. Then we have I agree to the privacy policy, which is very important and it is mandatory. Why it is important? Because sometimes privacy policies not taking or it may cause some of the lawsuits and cost high for the product company or sometimes also the end customer also. So it is better to check the privacy policy that we are aware what will be the use of this data in future. Then we have test scenarios. The test scenarios are basically the compilation of the different test cases that produce a scenario and provide their outcome that the scenario would work properly or not. So we have four scenarios for this module. First one is valid sign up. Second one is invalid sign up. Third one is alternate sign up. And then we have field validation. So on the right hand side, you can see the screenshot of my test scenarios. So first of all is sign up, a valid sign up in which we will see that when we are providing each and every field with correct information, it is registration form is submitting or not. Then we have second with invalid. We will provide any invalid field and we will see that if it is submitting the form or not. And then we have third alternate sign up in which we only fill the mandatory field and left blank the non-mandatory fields and see if it is submitting or not. Then according to the requirement we have second requirement in which we have to test each and every field. It's field validation which would test scenario 4. In field validation we test each and every field like username, password, email, occupation. Like in username we will give alphanumeric values and alphabetic values and left it blank to check if it is providing us right error or not. If it is not providing us right error, then we will have to give it to the defect log and then also match it in the RTM. So after that test cases, after reading all the requirements and test documents, we prepare test cases, keeping in mind some of the important points. And preparing test cases using different techniques like black box and white box is very important because they reduce the number of test cases and saves time. These are the important points that we should be taking care of preparing the test cases. First one is simple. Each and every test case is simple and could be easily understandable by the customer and also the developers. Keep end user in mind. It means that we have to think as an end user or as an customer also. For example, for us, for developers, maybe the icon image of the company for whom we are making the project is not very important, but according to the customer it is very important that his company icon should be very crisp and clear, and there should not be any distortion or any errors in that. So that severity could be critical and we have to keep in mind that would be the end user perspective on this test case. Then we have to avoid repetition, which is very important, that we don't want to test the same test cases again and again to save time or and then we do not assume anything from our side. We have to stick according to the requirements and the end user and customers focuses. Ensure 100% coverage. We have to try our best to ensure that all the test cases that we have prepared should be covered 100% according to the requirement. And identifiable is that test case should have its unique code, that it can be uniquely identifiable. Using testing technique is also very important to reduce number of test cases. Self cleaning, repeatable, and peer review is also very important, that the test cases should be sent to any peers for that, for their reviews, so that they can find any repeatable or anything that could be wrong with our test cases document. Then we have requirement traceability metrics. RTM RTM is a document that maps and traces user requirements with test cases and vice versa. It is very important, as for example, for a large application, it is very difficult to find which test case is showing defect or not. So RTM will allow you to take a look at what, for example, on the right hand side, you can see that for requirement 1 and 2, there are 4 scenarios and 32 test cases, in which 4 of them are failing, which 3 of them are failing, which have their own defect IDs. And these defect IDs are coming from defect log, which will have a defect description for the developer to find the defect and fix it. Thank you for paying attention to my manual testing presentation. Now, sir, should I also give the automation testing presentation?
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, auto in automation testing, I am taking an example of Selenium testing for header and text in HTML, and this been also submitted to GSK Gupta sir. And so, first of all, what is software testing? Software testing is a method to check whether the actual software product matches expected requirements and to ensure that software product is defect free, which is very important, because if we find any defect at after the stages during end users, in the hand of, when the application is in the hand of end user, it will cost great, it will cost uh, customer trust also. So we have to take care of each and every bug that could be come in future, so that the application would be at most bug free when it is come to the hand of end users. Now there are 2 types of testing. First one is manual testing, and second one is automation testing. So in manual testing, software testing is a process in which the test cases are executed manually without using any automated tool, and all the test cases are produced by prepared by humans, and they are also tested by humans one by one, which is a long process obviously, and it also takes it could also have some human errors. So, and there are some of the limitations that manual testing have. For example, we cannot we have to perform same test cases many times to be sure that the application is working fine or not. So for this to overcome and saving time and increasing the reliability and efficiency, we have automated testing, in which the testing is done by using special automation tools to control the execution of test cases and compare the actual result with the expected result. For example, Selenium and many other different software automation tools are there, which are used to perform automated testing, in which tester can create automated test scripts, and these test scripts will run itself throughout the application and find if there are any errors or not. Now, what is Selenium? Selenium is one of the most widely used open source web UI automation testing suite. Selenium support automation across different browsers, platforms, and programming languages like Java, C Sharp, Python, Ruby, Perl, etc. And Why Selenium is widely used? Because it is free and everyone can use it, and everyone can use it without paying anything, and it is also not that difficult. Well, I would not say that it is the easiest, because there are some other two automated tools in market which are much more easier than Selenium, which have a great GUI interface that would help you to create test cases and run test scripts easily. But Selenium is free and it is widely used, so it is preferred always in automated testing. Then we have Selenium IDE. On the right hand side, you can see a screenshot of Selenium IDE. Then, what is Selenium IDE? It is an easy UI tool to make Selenium scripts, can record and play different test scenarios, and you can also export recorded tests into scripts of Java, JUnit, TestNG, Python, Ruby, C Sharp, and JavaScript, etc. And it is only used for prototype and not for long and complex scripts, because for long and complex script we would need it. Uh, we cannot use for loops and if loops in this Selenium ID. We have to use Selenium WebDriver for making those work, and for there could be many exceptions or many errors we have to find out, which only can be done by a WebDriver. Now, for the program that I was talking, these are some steps for this program. First one is open Selenium IDE, then create a project, then record the test scripts according to the steps that have been given in the problem, then export the tests to the JUnit scripts, and transfer the values into static variable according to the question has mentioned. Then test the values using assertion. For you can see on the right hand side of my screen that we are using before, after, and test annotations, and we are importing all the important things. Now there are some of the important codes that we used for working of this program. First of one, which is driver is equal to new Firefox driver, which would initiate a object of Firefox driver. And then we have driver dot find element. Find element is an object, is a method to find HTML element by using different things like tag name, name, class name, XPath ID, CSS selector, link text, partial link text, and most commonly used is ID, which is unique for all, and we have to be very careful using class name and name, because there would be more than one element who having same class name and who is having same name and say also same tag name. So, but XPath is also a great element to find elements in HTML. Now we have driver.get. Driver.get is used to get anything or any variable that we have created in our code. So there are different get methods like get title, which will return the title of the uh, web page that we are testing, and get text will return the text stored in any element field, and get current URL will return the current URL of the web page we are testing. For example, there would be some link that would take us to another web page, and there are many more like get and we have assertion equals expected and actual. This is used to test whether the actual value which is coming from our code is being equal to the expected value or not, and it will return the boolean value true or false according to that. Then we have annotations before test and after. Before annotation, if whatever we write in the under the before annotation, it will run every time before a test case should be performed, and and then our test case and under at the rate test annotation is used to define that under this block all the test cases which have to be performed have been written. Then we have after this will run after all the test cases have been performed uh, and run this block. Then we have driver dot quit. This is used to close the WebDriver and running of the testing code application. So we can use driver.quit or driver.close. Driver.close is used to close the specified uh, web page, not the whole browser, but driver.quit is used to close all the tabs and also the browser. Then we have the conclusion. Successful test of H1 tag present and successful test of welcome message present would be coming out when we test this web page, which is given as welcome to Data Shipping Company, which is under H1 tag. And we have to test if H1 tag is present or not, and this welcome message is present or not. Thank you for paying attention to my automation testing presentation. Thank you all. Sir, I have completed the presentation. Should I show you the question again also?
Now, can you please execute your program once? What is your
Okay.
scenario?
Sir, testing that tag is present or not, and also the welcome message is coming or not.
Okay, you can proceed with execution.
Okay. So this is my program. This is my problem which I have to perform. I have to HTML print welcome message is the name of the problem, and I have to test whether a welcome message is coming or not, and the welcome message is under H1 heading or not. So this application has been already done. This is the link for this application where we can see that the welcome message is this and it is under H1 tag. We can see it by using inspect option under our browser, which will show that this welcome message is under H1 tag. So now these are some steps that had been given that we have how we should open the Mozilla Firefox IDE and create a new project and record this. I would also like to show you how we can done this through the IDE. So this is our IDE. We should run this and copy this and creating a new project name problem one. This is our so what we have to test first we have opened the web page, then we would click over here and it is showing set window and click on and CSS H1 tag. So how can we test that if the H1 tag is present or not? We just simply can go here and search present. This is present, and for test also we can mm, verify element present. We can use both those things to test that this thing is present or not, and we can also test the text is present or not. So
So,
and
and
then we
then we
should
should
close
close
this.
this.
Now we
Now we
have
have
different
different.
uh, variables for the for our program, but we would be needing only two of them: verify element and verify text. So we can delete these one, and we can export this from here to our JUnit. We can name it as pro. So we can see here that under before it is opening the driver initiating the driver object new from driver, and JavaScript driver also good Java executor, and under after it is quitting the driver, and under test there have been two tests. First one is it is getting the web page, then it is testing that H1 tag is present or not. Then in the second one, it is testing that the welcome message is present or not. Now, how should we do this under our ID over ebox? So as you can see that I have already done this problem, but for to show you, I will do this again. So, for example, I am using base URL, and I have used string as a static string variable to store the uh, URL of the page that I have to test. I have typed in base URL, and I am using driver.get for returning the base URL and navigating to the URL. Then I have already make boolean variable for is tag present, and a string variable, static variable for h1 text, which is and I have assigned false to tag present, because we have to test that h1 tag is present or not. We have to test that h1 text is coming welcome to data at shipping company or not. So first of all, we have to use is tag present is equal to driver dot find element, in which we have to find element by its any unique ID. And according to this question, there is no ID, only H1 tag is present at the welcome data. So we can use like tag name or tag name method to find the element in HTML file, and we can use is displayed method to return true or not. Is displayed method used to test whether uh, this element is present in the web page or not. And then we are using assert equals to uh, and is tag present. So if h1 tag element is present, then it should return true. So if this would be true, this will be true, and assert equals test case would be passed. Then we have h1 text, which is equal to driver dot find element. Why tag name h1? Because there is no other element and there is no other unique ID for this heading. So we are using tag name h1 again, and then we are using get text. Get text is used to return text stored in the element of a web page. Then we are using assert equals, and we are copying here the expected value, which is welcome to data X shipping company. And then we are giving h1 text meta variable that we have stored the get text value from h1 tag. And when this both will be matched, then this will also be true, and this test case would also pass. And then after we are quitting the uh, uh, browser. So I will validate this program for you and see if it is running or not. It is passing both the test cases. So This is a way how can we then record our test cases in Selenium ID and export it to uh, checklist ID and then edit it in them and then in Webdriver. Thank you all. Thank you, sir. I have completed from my side.
Thank you, Vivek.
Yes, sir. Vishal this side, sir.
Can you please, Vishal, can you please explain about software development lifecycle?
Yes, sir.
If you can please share your screen and explain it.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, you can
So,
use Notepad. Otherwise, you can use Notepad. Just write it one by one, step by step, and explain. That's all. Write the heading. That's all. You can explain. Not
okay,
required presentation also.
okay.
If you have
So,
presentation, you can share. Otherwise, Notepad. Increase your font, please.
one second.
Not developing, software development lifecycle. We should not use developing. Development. There is a terminology. You have to use the terminology as per the ISTQB standards.
so software development lifecycle. What is software development lifecycle? Software development lifecycle is a process used by software industry uh, to design and develop the software. And software development lifecycle is used to produce a high quality software that meets the expectation of customers and satisfy our customers in according to their requirements. So software development lifecycle is a process followed by a software project within a software organization. For example, HCL. Uh, there are in software development lifecycle, there are different stages like planning and for example, first of all is planning, then designing, then planning, then requirement analysis, then designing, then we have building, then we have testing, and then we have deployment. So first one is planning, under which the customer when customer is contacted the project company or the company to make any project, then the planning should be done that how should we perceive this type of problem, and requirements are gathered from the customers what he want from this uh, from his perspective, and discussion had been done with the customers and the developers team and the requirement planning team that what his perspective according to for his application or his project and what he is thinking, and the deduction had been done from both the parties that this would be your application. Then this requirement will go under analysis from uh, for different perspective that this application could be able to done within this time or not. The government documents, the government analysis will consist of all the details about the project, that how much time will it need, how much sources will it take to perform this application, is the right tool, right skilled employees are available in the company to perform this task within time or not, and will the company will be able to develop this application and deliver it at time or not. All these things will be there in requirement analysis. Then designing should be there. Designing is the phase where where an architecture would design the application, like in flowchart and etc., where he would decide wha- which are the modules would be created first, and how all these modules is connected together and form a proper application. Then after that we have building, under which development team comes into play, and they build code for the application from unit to things. They also test, the unit testing also done at the building stage also. And then we have testing, in which the testers done the testing on the application that have been developed by development team, and then see if the outcomes are matching the requirements according to the customer, according to the application requirements or not. Then we have deployment. Deployment is the last phase in which the application is deployed or pass it to the end user, to the market. Then there would be some maintenance after deployment that would have done after deploying the project. There are some models of software development life cycles, like waterfall model, iterative model, spiral model, V model, Big Bang model. Each of the model have their own benefits and disadvantages also. Like waterfall model is a sequential model which follow uh, the
Vishal,
sequential.
Vishal, Vishal, that's enough. Enough, Vishal.
Okay, sir.
What is the major difference between stub and driver?
Stub and driver, sir. Sir,
Stub and driver.
stub. Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
Vishal.
stub. Yes, sir. Sir, stub is an application. Uh, stub is and sir, stub is an sir dummy application or dummy module used during the integration testing, so that the application could perform uh, as it's supposed to, and drivers.
What type of integration testing? During the integration testing, it's okay.
Yes, sir.
And so what type? There are four kind of approaches, no? Top
Yes,
down
sir.
approach, bottom up approach, hybrid approach, and big bang approach. Where we are going to use stub?
Sir, stub is used in top-down approach, and
Hmm.
drivers are used in bottom-up approach.
That means while integrating the modules in top-down approach, if at all any mandatory module is missing, then that module is replaced with a temporary program or dummy program that is known as stub.
Stub.
What do you mean by driver?
Sir, driver is a calling program which are used in bottom-up testing approach. Drivers are dummy code, and they are used when the sub-modules are ready, but the main module is still not ready.
Okay. Uh, what do you mean by Selenium WebDriver?
So Selenium WebDriver is a tool which is used in Eclipse ID or any ID. We can pass different commands in WebDriver for our testing projects, like in JUnit, TestNG, and JScript and Java, etc. performing different testing, and we can type test scripts under WebDriver, and it is performed. It connects with the browser and test whether the test scripts that has been written in the WebDriver program is running perfectly or not, and return the true or false after that.
What do you mean by ID?
Sir, ID is a GUI, Selenium GUI interface, which is used for, which is a plugin for Mozilla Firefox, and it is used to record test scripts and exporting them to like Java, Perl, Ruby, JS, JUnit, and TestNG program, and they can be used as test scripts afterwards.
Automation testing is a replacement of manual testing.
No, sir. Automation testing is not at all replacement of manual testing, because before doing automation testing of any application, first we have to perform manual testing thoroughly. Then after that we can only perform automation testing for stopping the repetition of manual testing, and uh, for saving time and human errors.
Okay, Vishal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.